All right. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon. We are here to comment on Tosh game's second round. She won the first round. I will be your host for the second round. We have to catch up a few moves, and you will help me for that. I didn't have time to look, but it's fine. Um, thank you so much for being here, and we will start now. So, um, let me try to catch up the moves. We'll remove this and okay, perfect. Okay, so and don't have the chat. I forgot. All right. All right. So the first move I think was here, and I don't see so much. And give me a sec. I'm just setting up. All right, much better. Cool. So yes, the live games are delayed by design by 15 minutes. If someone has the start of the game, I would highly appreciate. If not, we'll try to find it back. Um, and I think. Wait, this is right. We are like that. And I have a small issue. One sec. Okay, much better. And here we go. So, perfect. Now we are set up. The only thing I'm wondering is um, okay, I think it went something like this. If I'm not wrong, there's someone has the close Sicilian, yeah. Okay, perfect. And now it's White's turn. I think there are still a few moves like this here, and I can't see very well the board. Okay, so the live board is a little bit delayed, but now we have everything. Perfect. Okay, cool. Okay. Bishop b5 check. Bishop d7, bishop takes d7, and knight takes d7. Thank you so much. And now it's Tosh's turn, so he played queen f3, I think. He's on the board, right? And now we are updated with what's happening. Okay, perfect, guys. Thank you. And what do we have? We have a closed Sicilian here. Okay, perfect. Thanks for the help, Vlad. And now we are up. Okay, so what's happening here? We have a closed Sicilian position. Tosh is going to fianchetto the bishop and look after these dark squares, which are kind of juicy. And White in this kind of position, I think, is going to try to achieve for f5. f5 is a typical break or a typical way to attack in these kind of positions. That's probably why white played a very aggressive move f4, so white will also have to watch out after this diagonal, after short castle for instance, because at some point there could be tactics, but that will happen much later on. Yeah, Vlad, so one thing, I didn't manage to join the classroom. I didn't manage. I joined, but it seemed like I was not part of the classroom or something. So I'm just on a regular analysis board. Just so you know, I didn't manage to join the classroom. But if you manage to, I will try to join back. If you manage to invite me or something. Maybe I needed an invitation, I don't know. I never used the classroom before. If not, I can just save the PG, the PGN or something and import it to the classroom. But all good. If we don't need the classroom, I'm happy to continue like that. All right, Tosh is taking a think here. And she's writing down the opponent's move that she hadn't written yet. And we are in not a critical position, but indeed she's right not rushing with bishop g6, because maybe there are some moves which may be more important, such as e6, because if you play bishop g6, what about f5? You see, while if you play e6, you maybe have more options on the board after f5. But queen f3 is definitely, what's the purpose of her opponent's last move? It's definitely aimed at helping push f5, maybe right away, right off the bat. Maybe right off the bat. Yeah, I will just change something. Okay. I think everyone has a separate classroom anyway, and just invite her after the game. Okay. Okay, Toshi is taking a think. Here, indeed, she's right to do so, because it's a critical moment. So here, what are Tosh options? She could develop the bishop to g7. e6 doesn't prevent f5 because her opponent could still play f5, and she will have to deal with it. e5 I don't think is an option. It looks a little bit weird because that would leave a hole on d5 as well as permit f5. That would be a little bit weird. So many options. She could also play a6 to prevent any knight jump later on. I think all of the options are available here. Bishop g7, knight g to e2 played. Oh, I didn't pay attention. Okay. Bishop g7 and knight e2 are played. And the position is about equal. Apparently, knight g to e2 was not the most accurate way to continue. So here, Tosh, if she wants to finish her development, knight f6 is not really an option because that would walk into a lot of pawn breaks that are uncomfortable. And here, usually, most of the time, if you have your bishop on the long diagonal like this one, which is definitely the hero of Tosh position, you should definitely not hide it. It's a very good piece. So the best option is probably e6 and knight g e7 and short castle. This is probably the path to putting your king to safety, I would say. All right. let's see what Tosh decides to do at this point. Let's see what Tosh decides. Her opponent is 2048, rated 2048, so slightly more rated than her. We expected a stronger opponent today since she won last round yesterday. It will be a bit harder, but Tosh demonstrated incredible resourcefulness yesterday, so I would not be surprised if she managed to also pass today round. And she's about to play knight f6. Interesting. Interesting, knight f6. Knight g f6. Okay. So both options are possible. I was just stating that knight f6 is maybe a little bit less natural to me, but I don't know quite much these Sicilian positions because I don't play the Sicilian. There is too much theory, so I don't play it. All right. All right. So what do we have here? Okay. Knight f6. Also very sensible, by the way, because it accelerates Tosh castling options. Like, and he played, I didn't pay attention. What did he play? Short castle, right? So also so e5 is not really a threat because it's well controlled by the knight. So there is no danger, and she's immediately preventing knight d5, and she's a little bit quicker to castle. That's also why knight f6 is an attractive option. Just know that the knight doesn't have that many squares to go to except backwards and on the side, but could g4 could chase the knight. So this knight we need to be a little bit careful. It doesn't have many squares. Okay, but after short castle it will have knight e1 available, but just need to be careful. However, white doesn't have that many options to chase the knight away as well. The critical move that Tosh needs to look out, need to be aware, is f5. But she knows about it. She knows about it. Okay, we have the real board, which started the live board, which started to move around now. Maybe in the not in the same move order I did. Maybe in the same, not in the same move order I did. Okay, bishop b5, bishop d7, bishop takes d7, and knight takes d7. All right, hello, Altold. How are you? Oh, okay. Oh, my screen is not happy. I don't know what's happening. Okay. All good. So Tosh is doing well so far. Tosh is doing well. She's taking a good time to think. I really like that because even though it's the opening, the position, we know that the Sicilian positions with the fianchetto bishop are not easy to play. Usually when you fianchetto your bishop, I would say, in the modern theory, the positions can go wrong very quickly, right? Because your opponent has more space. And space is maybe the number one thing in chess that is maybe easier to play and that gives the most options. And Tosh short castled in that position. She short castled. By the way, I will maybe raise a little bit the volume here, here, better. Okay. And her opponent blitzed out a move which I didn't catch. What was the last move he played? I can't see the board correctly. I think he played d3. Is that it? Or not? No. Ah, he played g4? Is that possible that he played g4? Can someone tell me? I think he played g4, yes, right? g4! What an aggressive way to start things. Okay, her opponent is going all in. So, you know, you were probably told not to move the pawns in front of your king, but there are two reasons sometimes you can do it. First, your king is not castled there, right? If your king is not castled, you can move the pawns like in kind of opposite side castling positions. Secondly, if you have more space, it's okay to push the pawns in front of your king because and you have also more active pieces because you protect the space that you leave behind. And interestingly, I don't think her opponent is threatening g5 right now because there is always knight h5, right? And the knight is well placed there and cannot be chased. There is no light squares bishops. So I think the big threat is f5. And maybe one reaction that would be overreaction would be e6. I think that would walk into f5. And that's not what we want. Maybe. But it's already a very complex position. So let's try to break it down. So her opponent is definitely going all in. I think if Tosh survives the attack, she will have good, very good counterplay because now look at that king. It will be very weak in the corner. So it depends on what does Tosh wants to do. I also have a friend called Tash. That's why. So I confused between Tosh and Tash. Tash like Natasha. That's why. But Tosh. Here it's Tosh. I really like these diminutives. Okay, Tosh is taking a think here, and she's right. Tash Queen. Tash Queen. Yeah. All right. So what are the options? Let's try to think. If I were black, what I would play? It's not easy. It's not easy when you see the pawn avalanche aiming towards your king. What can you do? Space is good. I would try to trade queens, maybe, but here there is no good way. I would also try, if you're getting attacked on the side, you try to fight back in the center. So maybe e6 and d5. Maybe, not right now, but maybe e6 is actually an option after all. I'm trying not to read the computer options. You also need to be careful about this. Maybe that's a threat. Not right now because the knight is well controlling. So first, my first intuition is not move that knight on d7. Okay, it's important. Otherwise, there is e5, which could be annoying. Maybe the queen could eat that pawn. Maybe f5. F5 actually, I think you need not to do anything on f5. Of course, you shouldn't take. Because if he plays f5, I don't know, you play a random move, f5, if you take, you damage your pawn structure around your king. So f5, you shouldn't move. But actually the main drawback of f5 and immediate f5 is that it leaves a good outpost for the knight. Look at that knight now. How does the queen protect this pawn? It can't because it's a fork. So actually, f5 is not a threat. Is not a threat. That's interesting because that's how you should think here. You should always think: is my opponent actually threatening to do something? And actually, he was not. And Tosh is taking preemptive options by moving the knight back to e8. I think it's a very practical and good move. She's probably relocating it to another square. And that's what I talked about earlier. Like, she doesn't have many options with the knight after castling, but she will have knight e8 because the king cleared that square by doing castling. So now, um, I like this move. Honestly, it was not easy to see that after maybe f5 there was the knight e5. So actually, it was not necessary to move the knight yet. But I like this preemptive move that would. And on f5 there is still knight e5. That's the main drawback actually. So the queen is a little bit misplaced on f3. And now her opponent is taking a think because he is not sure how to continue, especially after knight e8. That looks very passive, maybe. Some players would look at this position and say, okay, white is crushing, like he has more space, he's going to attack. But despite how it looks like, um, black is very solid. Okay, despite having a little bit still the pieces on the back rank. Look, black has more space on the queen side, or almost in the center, we could say. So actually, it's perfectly fine for black. But now f5 is a move, the computer says. f5 is a move because there is no more the fork with knight e5 that would win that pawn and probably win the game. I don't know. I think her opponent will maybe go f5 now. That's probably what he is looking at. But if not, he will probably consider finish his development either by d3 or b2, maybe to counter this bishop on the long diagonal. I would not be surprised if he did that. It's kind of a very modern position indeed, and you doubt it is possible, but imagine sneaking out the king from g to b2. This king, you mean? Yeah. Yeah, now it's a little bit too late, and you can see there is a lot of traffic on the lane on the lane towards safety. But right now, Tosh's king is pretty safe, actually. Pretty safe. You see, there is a small castle here, like that, a small house, and it's pretty safe so far. And I missed the opponent's move, of course. I know he has not written it yet. I thought Tosh wrote it, but she just wrote her opponent's last move. She's so focused that she forgot to write the moves, which happens to me 100% of the times in OTB games. I don't have clean score sheets. I always miss some moves. But yeah, fortunately, I remember well enough the game. Okay, and he's playing d3, I think. d3 is on the board. He wants to finish his development and not start the hostilities yet. He's asking black, okay, now, sure, how do you move forward? How do you continue? And Tosh needs to come out with a plan. I would say maybe put some pieces there. That could be a plan to try to put a knight. I mean, this knight is not doing anything, so I would definitely put it back into the game, maybe that way, or maybe that way. That could be a path to redemption. Did I tell you the story of my friend? He was facing a GM, so the GM was stretching, and so my friend caught his hands, and the arbiter declared it to be a draw. If it's a true story, wow, that that would be funny. I could imagine the scene like this, and then you catch the hand, you reach for the hand, and oh, it's a draw. I was losing by -8, but it's a draw. He shared his hand. I grabbed it. It's a draw. That would be very fun. Is that a true story or is that like a cafe story? But anyways, whether it's true or not, I like it, and maybe I will try it. You know what you could do? You could yawn at the board, make your opponent feeling tired, stretch, and then you catch his hand. You reach out and you catch his hand. We're not sure. We gotta ask the people at Prey. Anyways, that would be super, super funny. By the way, I only have the Twitch chat. I don't have the YouTube chat. Oh, thank you for the red, Hunter Wiz. Thank you so much for the red. I don't have the YouTube chat unfortunately because I logged in and I don't have the. Ah, maybe I can set it up actually. Hmm. I need to think about it. Maybe during the break. Welcome, welcome, Raiders. Thank you, Hunter Wiz, for the raid. And we are in a critical, I mean, not yet critical, but in a very interesting position. Tosh needs and have to find a plan now. We are in the middle game. She needs to find a good continuation, how to get involved. I would say the first move is knight c7, and actually that's the best computer choice because this knight is not doing anything. So if you look just at improving your pieces, does your opponent has an immediate threat? Okay, maybe f5, but she cannot really do anything about it. I think f5 is coming in all of white lines in the computer, but knight c7 improves the knight. She's about to make a move. Tosh is about to make a move. I think knight is c7. Oh, e6. Okay, why not? Also interesting. Maybe trying to push in the center, but maybe now f5 is a little bit more devastating. That's what the computer says. Sometimes I would say I realized that when I analyzed from experience, analyzed some games. Sometimes if the opponent has a pawn break that you cannot prevent, it makes it worse to put your two pawns instead of one because it will even be opening more. And usually when you have a pawn which comes in and it attacks two pawns or two things at once, usually it's even stronger. So that's probably why the computer didn't like e6 on the board. Um, there is nobody there on YouTube anyway. Yeah. Okay, so let's scrap YouTube and forward. Everyone is on Twitch. But so e6 was not really much liked by the computer. I think it wanted to be more flexible. Also, knight c7 was preventing maybe knight. Knight. Sorry. Knight d5. But e6 is probably aimed at also preventing knight d5. But usually, if you want to be more flexible, you want to keep moving your pieces and not pawns. Because also maybe this pawn may be now a little bit more weak, and it's the base of the chain. But you know, it's like very complex positions. So knight c7 was maybe more logical because anyways, Tosh, we need to put back her knight in to play. So she will need anyways to play knight c7. I don't think the knight should come back there. So that's why. And that's how I would have tried to think. But hear me out, it's not an easy position. And it can go wrong very quickly. These positions with f4 and f5 are so difficult to play against, I think. I have a lot of struggle around, same as most players, I guess. If you don't know how to play against that, it can be devastating. Because also the pawn can maybe shove forward until f6. Not now, because she's keeping the square like 4 times, especially with the knight, but later on. And white is never obliged to take here or there. You know, he can keep the tension basically forever. And once it's the good time, maybe push or open. So that's why it can be so dangerous. And actually, the I was about to say the live board caught up, but not quite yet. Not quite yet. All right. So Tosh is on a break. She's playing a Polish, by the way. Polish, right? Am I saying something? I hope I'm not confusing. Yeah, Polish. Polish. I know my country flags. She's playing a Polish player. Um, it's funny because she's in the island. Oh wow, it glitches when I switch windows. Okay, she's playing in the Irish Federation, but actually she's just Polish like him. So I think they had time to speak a little bit before the game. We can see Tosh in the background, very um, peace of mind. She's quite, I think, happy about her position and not feeling in danger, at least, because when you go look at other games, it means also you feel pretty much safe and happy. Otherwise, she would be looking at the board. That's also a strong signal that she sends to her opponent, like, okay, you can get f5. I feel like I'm safe. So that's also a good psychological sign. Sometimes I also do it. Not, of course, I'm not thinking, okay, I'm going to do it to show my opponent, but um, I just do it naturally. And psychologically, when your opponent goes away from the board, you think, okay, like he doesn't care, or like he doesn't feel that I'm attacking, and it can be a little bit psychologically disrupting. Like you could think, okay, I'm going to try everything to attack more, and maybe you will blunder, or you could feel like frustrated, like I'm attacking, but my opponent is barely feeling not at ease. And they even know each other from years ago. Okay, amazing. I didn't know that. I didn't know she knew her opponent from years ago. Okay. Okay, her opponent is taking a big time to think. He's definitely looking at f5 and what are the implications. Maybe f5 followed by knight e5. f5 followed by knight e5 is maybe what he's calculating. Because the knight is quite safe here, I would say, because of this pawn. It prevents the pawn from advancing. So for the time being, until there is that these moves, the knight is quite safe. It's kind of an outpost, so that would be okay. But apparently, the computer likes very much white after queen h3, because this pawn tension is not good. And as I said, white is not obliged to take and can keep the pawn tension forever. I think maybe queen h3, the idea is maybe to exchange the dark square bishop, because this bishop was not doing anything. This bishop is a key defender of black's position. So that's maybe the idea. Um, and also that knight could join the attack. And then the rook, you see, it's not so easy. You can feel the pressure heating up with black, but her opponent didn't play f5. he played bishop d3, right? He's playing there with his brother. Okay, got you. Thank you for the follow. Thank you so much. I don't have the alert, so I don't know yet who. Bishop d3. Let's talk about this move. I think it's a little bit missing an opportunity to play f5. I don't know what her opponent feared after f5. But sometimes overthinking, like you're like, okay, f5 seems my good intuition. In a blitz game, you would have played it 100% of times. And sometimes you're overthinking. You're like, okay, if I play f5, what can he do? Or what can Tosh do? And then you see crazy things. Maybe that's why he overthought f5, which I think is a good move. But anyways, he can play it anytime, so that's also the good thing for white. And when you have space, it's like also not going anywhere. So he's basically sending back the ball into Tosh court and saying, okay, like I can find a way to improve my pieces. Can you do the same? And when you have less space, hear me well, it's a little bit harder to find improving moves. But here, knight c7 is always an option. Apparently, it's very interesting. There is a nice move here for black. I wonder if Tosh will find it. That's why you need to be always open-minded in chess. The very nice move, because if we summarize the basics of chess strategy, let's say wise, her opponent's pawn chain is aiming towards Tosh's king, right? It's aiming towards the king side, and he grabbed a lot of space towards the king side. But in the Sicilian, one of the ideas is to attack on the queen side, right? Especially with the fianchetto bishop. Everything aims at the queen side. So one of the options is trying to get your pawns moving to the queen side. You could say, okay, I'm going to go a6 and b5. First, your opponent could block. Sure, he weakened that square, but can you reach it easily with a knight? Not so easy. You would need to go towards that path, and it's going to take some moves. And what are you actually achieving? Not much. I mean, hitting that pawn, but okay. So therefore, you would think, why can't I push that pawn directly? Oh, the knight takes. Okay, but you activate your pieces now. Sure, maybe you lose some pawns in the process, but you start to infiltrate your opponent's position. Maybe you have the bishop also taking the pawn. By the way, you could have maybe taken here. And here you play on the queen side. So b5 would definitely be a move. I don't know. I didn't look whether it's better to first put the rook on b8 or take the pawn. But I hope she can find b5 because she needs to find counterattack and counterplay. I mean, otherwise, if she just sits and be a little bit too passive, she will have a hard time. I mean, maybe she will wait for her opponent to make a mistake. But here the position is not yet difficult, and b5 is a nice move using the fact that the knight is kind of pinned or in a skewer with the king. And probably it's a typical idea in the Sicilian positions with the bishops. So I would not be surprised if Tosh finds it b5. And also it's a typical move. Also, I play the King's Indian. And in the King's Indian, sometimes you play b5, even if you lose the pawn. Like c4, the pawn is on c4, but you still play b5. And there is c takes b5 and a6. You sacrifice a pawn, but you open lines to find counterplay on the queen side, because there is also the King's Indian bishop hitting b2. So now b5, I'm looking a little bit more carefully at b5. And when you have the bishop, when you try to find counterplay on the king side, b5 is often a move that you can eventually play. That's my explanation. I hope it was clear. b5 here is the best move for the computer, but there are other good moves such as queen b6. Queen b6 is not so intuitive for me because you put your queen in front of the bishop. Also maybe could be attacked by the knight, but the simple reasoning is that you put a little bit more pressure on the pawn. But okay, need to have maybe more continuation. And also I don't like because you're blocking the b pawn. That's also why I don't like it so much. Yeah. And what are black's other options here? Knight c7, always an option, and can also help propel the b5 push. And b5 is not so much, I would say, like you could fear it because maybe knight takes b5 and then white is putting pressure on that pawn, but first it's well guarded thanks to the knight on e8. But also you could say, okay, the knight is gonna stay there. No, you always have a6 to chase it away. So that's why it's not dangerous positionally. Knight c7 is an option, yes, perfectly. And rook b8 also perfect option to play for b5, exactly. Very good thinking. Rook b8. Apparently the computer doesn't list it out in these options. I wonder why. Probably maybe white has a good way to stop b5 or... Yeah, I don't know. Rook b8. f5. Rook b8 is met by f5, but I don't see why here in that case it's not as good. Probably because it's a little bit too slow, maybe, and you have more direct way to achieve that with b5. But knight c7 or queen b6, yeah, I don't see the how is it faster. Yeah, it's always important to find these good direct moves because here time is in the essence of the position. Time is in the essence because if she doesn't play moves with strength, she will probably end up in difficult positions because of these three pawns which are largely threatening her king. Another option by the computer, which is for me maybe hard to understand, or actually there is an idea now I start to understand, is a5. a5, but you're going to say, okay, but what about this? We said that it was a hole. Yes, but maybe if the knight jumps, you can immediately contest it. Even the computer doesn't care. It plays the a4. Actually, you can't contest it because there is the d6 pawn hanging. But the computer wants to weaken the dark squares with a6, I guess. And here also the pawn is hanging, by the way, but it didn't even take it. Probably because maybe our bishop can be trapped. Oh, she's about to play a move, I think. Maybe the bishop gets trapped after c6. Oh, knight c7. Okay. Actually, it doesn't get trapped. Oh, yes, the rook is hanging. What am I saying? So first, yeah, there is nothing trapped. Mornings are hard. Mornings are a little bit hard. Okay, knight c7 is on the board. Knight c7 is on the board. Very good option. I like that. Now she's again threatening to push b5 and grab more space on the queen side, and also putting her knight back into action, and a little bit guarding a little bit more that square, which could have been a little bit more weakened. But for instance here, I know also for a fact that after f5, white always has a good option to take on e6. F takes e because you don't want to leave a hole here. And okay, now the queen is there, but at some point, let's say you play f5. Let's play dummy move. So takes, takes. Let's say the queen moves, and you see that pawn. It could be a target. It could be a target. Here, the computer prefers black because I played dumb moves. It's too early for white to take. But just so as a matter of fact, you need to be careful. Here, you want to take back with the pawn because otherwise the knight could enter at some point. But the hanging pawn here could be a weakness. So that's also what she needs to be careful about later on. But the positions are very complex, these kind of positions. Every time you have a lot of pawn breaks, a lot of squares, like strong squares, outposts, weak squares, the positions are very complex and each move matters a lot. Because it's basically the first one who attacks who will get something valuable. Okay, let's see how her opponent may continue the game. f5 surprisingly disappeared from white's options. I don't know why, but her opponent is playing very flexible in the rook e1, rook a e1. Very flexible and like he's not saying what he's gonna do. Basically, he's just concentrating this whole mass of pieces towards the king of Tosh, towards Tosh's king. You see, he's just amassing all these pieces, but right now he's not telling his options. I would say b5 is still on the board. b5 is still on the board, is still an option on the board because she needs to counteract on the queen side. And right now, white doesn't have a threat, especially with his last move. There is no threat because the rook is there. It's a little bit behind. There is too much traffic on that lane. So b5 is very logical in order maybe to push to b4. That would essentially force the knight there to defend the pawn. And now c3, but c3 you can start to play on the queen side, and that's what I like. So b5, I think it will be played by Tosh. I have little doubt about it. I was also thinking another option could be f5 herself to prevent her opponent from doing f5, but it's a very committing option. Very, very, very committing. Something like that, maybe, you know. But that doesn't look good. Let's be honest, that doesn't look good at all. Okay? So you shouldn't move your pawns in front of your king unless it's strictly necessary. So she shouldn't move these pawns now. Like that, but she still have many options with these ones, the ones in blue. That's the ones in blue is the ones she could move, and the ones in red is the ones she shouldn't touch, because the more you touch your king pawns, the more maybe fragile it's gonna be. A5 is also an option apparently, but definitely b5 is the best option here. There is a5, rook c8. Logical, you put your rook on the behind the most advanced pawn. Maybe you're trying to get a break. Maybe. Rook e8, also an option. A little bit the same idea. You're putting your rook behind the a file where your pawn is kind of advanced. So in case of f5, maybe you take and you open your file. The knight doesn't have anywhere to go. I think b5 makes a lot of sense. That knight is kind of defending important squares, especially if there is a push. Maybe you consider knight e5. So that knight, I think I would leave it there. That doesn't leave many options available. And there is also apparently d5. d5, which sacrifices a pawn, apparently, but black would have some compensation, I guess. d5 takes, let's say takes. We reach that position. You can even take further, and at least I guess the idea is that first you can take. Okay, you can take that pawn, so you get back the material. You just need to be careful now about c3, trapping the bishop. But I guess it's not a move. And also, by the way, you're never scared of that, because that would give away the very good bishop. So you would have plenty of compensation. Like, let's say you play bishop takes b2 and he plays bishop takes. It would be probably a bad move. You just take. He needs to take back the piece, and there is always the threat of a fork. So now the knight is very important. So for instance, you can also chase the queen, or you can try to take the knight and then do a fork. There are plenty of options, and here white should not get rid of his dark square bishop even if he wins a pawn. That's something kind of basic. So d5 is an option, but I doubt that Tosh will play that. I think it's a tough move to play. It's the same idea a little bit as b5. Like the knight couldn't take because it would leave that pawn undefended, and d5 is the same because takes, that pawn can be taken, but that leaves the pawn on b2 behind. That's something I'm learning as I comment on this game with you guys. I'm just looking at the analysis and understanding what it says. I was not aware of this kind of way to go forward. But if you want to find these kind of moves, you also always should look at pushes in the center, fighting back the space in the center, even at the cost of a pawn, because maybe you get some activity back or something like that. And also that would ask a question about that pawn that is definitely being used as a lever for the f5 push. So that's also making sense in that kind of reasoning. Because if you take it now, you see the f5 push has less strength because you took away a pawn from the push on f5. Do you understand what I'm saying? And you're also threatening a fork, so it's pretty much forcing. It's a pretty much forcing line. I really doubt that Tosh will play that. But actually, when you look at this position, you're like, okay, f5 is much less threatening. I open some files. This pawn is hanging. Everything looks better, or at least you have some counterplay. So actually, it looks not bad. But it's hard to sacrifice a pawn. It's hard to look at moves in which you push a pawn on a square that is attacked more than defended. This game probably won't reach move 40. Someone gonna win earlier. Okay. Indeed, it's a very sharp game, definitely. I don't know who's gonna win. I really hope Tosh, but it's going to be very sharp for sure. And Tosh is taking her time. And she's right to do so because it's a critical position. So I think her best option is still b5, even if she doesn't know the follow-up. Um, it can never be bad to take space on the queen side and counter attack and maybe threaten b4. It's crazy how also if I was realizing if I was at the board, I would probably think, okay, I don't have many good options. What should I play? And I would maybe look at b5, but besides that, I would say, okay, I don't have many options. But the computer finds very interesting options. There are always options with ideas behind. You just need to come up with the better ideas. But the computer with rook e8, rook c8, d5, um, we said b5, and a5. These are the five suggestions of the computer, um, with different evaluations, of course, but um, not losing. Not losing. Any of them is not losing. Maybe giving a small edge to white, like d5 or rook c8 or a5. No, no, a5 is fine. But you see, like it's incredible as we are here watching the game. It's easier to come up with candidate moves, but when you are at the board, you're like, okay, I don't have maybe so many options. That's how I feel like. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like most people would feel like that in Tosh position. It's not. It's a hard position. Why is it hard? Because you have less space again. As humans, it's hard to play when we have less space. Very hard. Rook e8 is kind of automatic for many players here, I would guess. Just a habit to always get it there. Okay. So maybe I'm just not familiar enough with these kind of positions. But rook e8 is an option. Okay, sure. I would ask Chat GPT for help here. I'm not sure Chat GPT would help here. I don't know if you saw, but some games there were some competitions or some games organized between like AI assistants like ChatGPT, DeepSeek, Gemini. I don't know how you say it, Claude, and all this kind of stuff, and they're not doing well because they're good at language, but chess is another way of language with the coordinates, and you need to keep the board in your mind, and it's not fit, you know. So sometimes they're like, okay, play bishop b5, and you're like, but I don't have a light square bishop, and I only have a dark square bishop. But the chat GPT just makes you one, you know. Or it says, okay, grab the queen, and you're like, the queens were off the board since move 10, so what are you talking about? So the AI LLMs are not good yet for the games. I think Stockfish is the real mensch, the real strong player here. Because right now, algorithms are stronger than AI, let's say, per se, for chess games. There is, I think, Lila, which is a neural network, but Stockfish is still better. But I'm not sure exactly how it works behind the scenes. I think they are also using neural networks now in Stockfish. I wonder if it's not a mix of neural networks and algorithms. I think it's a mix in Stockfish. Yeah, I will check that. It's definitely interesting. But Stockfish is definitely the number one engine by far, and ChatGPT is a little bit weak, but not because it's not so much because it's suggesting bad moves, but more because it's having a hard time to keep track of the board and to suggest moves which actually can be played. That would be my take on AI, LLMs, and chess. That was a little bit of a um, digression. I don't know how you say in English. When you digress. I'm not sure about the word. All right. Now back to the game. Now back to the game. I wonder what's your opinion, guys, of LLMs. I mean, DeepSeek, Claude, ChatGPT, and all the rest. What do you think? Do you think at some point they will play better than Stockfish? Like right now, it's just because they can't keep track of the boards. What do you think about that? I'm curious about your opinions. If you want to share your opinions in the chat, I will be happy to read them while we are patiently waiting for Tosh move. Oh, she's about to move. I like when she's touching her hands every time she's about to make a move. I think she's um, gathering her hands and maybe shaking them or something. She's uh, about to make a move. Now she's thinking back, and she's, in my opinion, looking at the king side. She's looking at the king side. Okay, oh, it's not rook e1. It's not rook e1. I missed. Yes, I didn't look well. It's rook d1. That changes quite a lot. And the computer doesn't like it. Now, all of the options we talked about on the board are exactly the same, but um, Tosh evaluation is much better. I don't know why he put his rook there. I don't quite get it. I mean, he wants to get the break here, but positionally, it's like exactly what you want as black. So the rook would have been better here, I think. But maybe there is an idea that I don't quite get. But b5, yes! b5 is on the board. It's the best move, and now the position is equal according to the computer. b5, nice. Very logical move. And good strategically. And now, wow, the situation completely changed. All of the options are about an equal game. So now Tosh has fighting chances. Like she's like, now the game could go in white favor or in black's favor. While before rook a d1, all of the options were in white's favor. But now all of the options are both ways. And even if white is not accurate, the evaluation is in favor of Tosh. That's great. So let me explain again. b5. b5, the idea is to take space on the queen side, and usually when you have a bishop, you also always want to attack the opposite direction, because that's where your bishop is aiming towards too. So you're trying to push your pawns on the other side of the board. Notice that Tosh could have achieved that even here, because tactically it worked, but it was maybe a little bit too messy. And that's perfectly fine. Knight c7 and b5. Wouldn't ChatGPT evolution be like to be smart enough to reply with stockfish evals? Interesting. So yeah, maybe. The only thing is stockfish evals means there is an engine that needs to be installed or accessed via an API. And ChatGPT right now is able actually to look to search the web, which is I think a new feature. So so it's kind of getting there. But stockfish is a little bit more complicated. It's like needs to reach either an API or. But then, why would you need ChatGPT? You know, if it's if you have a stockfish, it would add maybe the language part and the fact that it can understand the moves and yeah. I think we are getting there. You're right. Uh, but it's all about the integration. Do we have currently a way to automatically integrate ChatGPT and Stockfish? I'm not sure. Is there a way today to integrate manually Stockfish and ChatGPT? Yes, for sure. Is that their priority? No. But I think we are getting there soon. Where maybe it's what I mean by getting there soon is getting there to the automatically connect ChatGPT and Stockfish. Like let just ChatGPT figure out how to read and use Stockfish. You just tell it, okay, I want to use Stockfish engine. This is the website. Just go there and download the engine or make use of it and automatically do it. I think we are getting there. It should be a matter of maybe years, not even years, maybe year, 2 years, something like that. Maybe. Stockfish is designed for chess, though doubt that ChatGPT will be on the same level. Exactly. Stockfish is very specific, so that's why. But as Warrior put it, it's they could be coupled. Like ChatGPT could be used for the language and Stockfish for the engine, and then you have a smart engine assistance. Chess. By the way, I'm thinking like I think chess.com has this amazing feature of game review and all the analysis, but so far they can only tell you like, okay, you played this pawn and it was not good because you missed a fork, or you missed a fork and you lose the knight. That's good, but what they are lacking at currently is strategy. Like if you play a move, it will just tell you, okay, you push that move and it's good. They won't tell you, okay, like you have this plan and it's good because you move to forward with that plan. Oh, I missed the move. Oh no, I think I get it. I think it's d4. Okay, so let's focus back a little bit on the board and the implications of d4. Yeah, I think it's d4. And wow, I was about to say b4 is the best move, and apparently she calculated it before. She calculated before because she played it right away, tempo. She played tempo before. Very, very good. Wow. And often you should look. You see here, it doesn't. I don't have the annotations, but look at that. Look at. It's a great move. It doesn't put it on the board, but before is a great move. It was the best move, and now black is at an advantage. Tosh is playing fantastically. Tosh is playing fantastically so far. So what you should look at, also something I learned recently, is the double pawn breaks. It's kind of a double pawn lever. They're often very strong, and that should be looked at. They should be looked at and not missed. Like here, there is a pawn break, and here it's not technically a pawn break, but it's another kind of pawn break. So now the knight has to move. There is no other option. I mean, the computer suggests sacrificing the knight, but it would be winning for black. There are two options for white: knight b1 and knight a4. Okay, very logical. These are the two squares where the knight is not attacked. Knight b1 is the best. Why? Because knight a4, I don't understand where the knight is going. But you need to little bit be careful because knight a4 there is the threat of taking. Take and then the knight is pinned. So you can't take. And here you would need to take. But you look at that knight after it doesn't have any good squares to come back into the game. So that would be a good continuation for black if she takes. Let's say knight takes, and then that knight is out of the game, and you would need to rook queen e8. Queen e8 apparently is a move trying to attack that knight and put back your queen into the game, and remove from the threat of knight c6. Complicated but findable. Here there is a lot of calculation. And her opponent, we can tell also, it's amazing because we can tell her opponent, Camille, didn't expect at all before because he's taking a long time to think. And I bet you that after he played d4, I mean, he looked at d4, he looked at this move. So if he's taking a long time to think after b4, it means he didn't expect it. By the way, I'm going to change a little bit the camera to make it better. Um, mm, mm, mm. Okay, that should be slightly better now. A little bit focused, more focused. Stockfish, she need a poster check. AI Olympics when? Right, I think Levy organized a competition about AI. I didn't watch the whole series, but it was kind of fun. It was kind of interesting. Literally about to type posture check for both of them. Yeah, it's so funny the posture. Okay, before put her opponent into a deep think before asking questions. Always ask your opponent's questions because first he has to make a choice, so he could make a mistake, and that's how you are going to differentiate from your opponents. Because if he only has to play easy moves, he will never make a mistake. He will only play normal moves, either good moves or moves that are not doing anything but not losing him the game. So you need to ask questions at some point, and that's what b4 does. On that note, I will quickly um, take a break to eat something and come back in a few minutes. I'm going to um, probably change the view with the live soon, or turn off my camera. I think I will just yeah, you won't have the board. Okay, I'm just going to stay like that, and you will have the whole thing. And if he plays a move, you will kindly look at the move and tell me what he played. Okay, see you back in a few minutes. All right, here I am back. Thank you. So knight b1 and c4, 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 c4. Really? Okay. Thank you for the moves, warrior. And after c4, it's touch to play again. So I guess white played another move. Oh, the no, it's almost there. f5. f5 is on the board. Yes, exactly. All right. c4 was a little bit. Apparently, the best continuation was to take. She needs to open the center because, as we know, or as we don't know, usually if you close the center, kind of, it's the center is closed now, and every time there is a push, you can close. Now attacks on the sides are possible. So I would have maybe considered opening the center, but probably she had an idea behind that move. I don't know, but positionally the computer doesn't like too much the c4 move. Let's continue. f5, f5. Okay, so there is no threat of f6 because you're guarding the squares 3 times. That's perfect. But now, also one other interesting thing is that now that there is the pawn here, that she didn't eliminate it, f5 is even more possible because knight e5 is not an option now. And I think that was her opponent idea behind d4. Behind d4. So here she should have probably taken c takes d4, even though it brings a bishop, a knight in the game. Every time there is f5, there is also knight e5. So white would have had to be careful about the f5 push, and now it's a little bit easier to push with f5. The game is going ups and down, like it's very complex positionally, so that's why the players are not playing necessarily the best moves, but it's a very complex game, so be aware of that. Even though it may seem easier with the computer evaluation, it's not as easy as we tend to think, especially when we are on the board. I'm just surprised maybe about c4. Uh, Not so much about the move, but maybe she played it a little bit too fast. I will ask her in the interview, if we have time, what was her thought about c4. But I'm pretty much confident that she will say, I didn't want to take because probably her white pieces were coming in, and I was helping to bring in white pieces. But sure, but at least you eliminate that pawn, so now f5 you get that square. That was important. Now white has a lot of pawns that can be pushed for the Tosh's king, while black attack on the queen side is a little bit stopped, and maybe she's now realizing that. The position is not easy. The computer still wants to do some interesting moves such as d5 to fight back, because if she doesn't do d5, apparently the situation is only going to get worse and worse. But at least she will learn a lot of things in this. Anyways, whatever the result is, there are so many things to learn from in this game, and it's very, very interesting. And also for me, like, I never played these kind of positions, but it's called the closed Sicilian defense, that we knew. and the Grand Prix variation, right? The Grand Prix attack variation in the Sicilian are dangerous lines, especially against the fianchetto with bishop. Very interesting, very, very, very interesting things. I think it's typical to get the e5 square for your knight. In the Grand Prix variation, the e5 square is important. And here, the issue was that she pushed c5 instead of taking on d4. Now, the options are a little bit more limited because she doesn't have good squares for her knights, for her pieces. All right. Time gap also. Yeah, there is a small of a time gap. A small time gap. Tosh is a little bit behind. Tosh is a little bit behind. Yeah, right. Hopefully it will work out well, but she's a little bit behind. I hope she will manage to stay in the game. She played her move. She played. I missed that. I think she took with E. Okay, she took E takes f5, and he took G takes f5. G takes f5. Okay, the situation is not great, but definitely not lost. Let's look at the situation. Actually, I would say even the Gomber prefers white. I would say it's maybe less scary already. Maybe. The only thing now is that structurally this pawn is really bad. That's one thing. I would try to push for d5 still, even though the computer hates it. It's like a pawn sacrifice, but at least what? And then maybe knight e8, knight d6, trying to get like a square for your knights in front of the pawns. I think that would be one idea. Maybe I'm losing something in the process. I didn't look carefully, but yeah, I would go for that. I think it's interesting. But the problem is that what if you push, and that's where you get into trouble. Yeah, if you push, that's a lot of trouble, and also f6. Okay, not good. So d5 is not good because of e5. What else? Not many good options. The computer wants queen e7. Developing the queen one square. Attacking the e pawn, maybe trying to get a rook. And actually that pawn is not defended easily. There will be that or this. But this could be met maybe with c4, c3. So I like queen e7. Maybe it's... but you're also entering fork territory. So now your knight can't move because it's counterintuitive to put the queen on e7. because every time your knight moves, there is a fork. So it's very counterintuitive. Apparently, it doesn't work. Bishop takes f6, queen takes. Ah, because you take with check. Yeah, I played a dummy move, but okay. Let's say white plays I don't know here. Now you move your knight. Now there is the fork. Okay. So queen e7 is not is counterintuitive. I would never play queen e7 in this position. What if he pushes? The structure is bad, but not scary attack. Yeah, exactly. That's also what I was thinking. The structure of black is bad, but at least the attack of white pieces is a little bit less scary. So I definitely understand what she did. What if he pushes? Pushes right now doesn't work because you have your knight, your bishop, everything. Ah, but here there is a common tactical pattern. I mean, I saw it already. Is that maybe in some cases you can push. Okay, it doesn't work right now, but you need to be aware of push. Let's say you take with the knight, there is bishop g5 that wins the game. So you absolutely need to take with the bishop. Very, very important. Right? And no, apparently it's not the best. Wait. Ah, you can take with the queen also, yes, right. Queen or bishop, but not with the knight. That's something to be aware also. Something to be aware not to take with the knight. Let's go back to our where we were, because her opponent no, she okay, and she plays d5. The same move as I was suggesting. Okay, so listen, it's a bad move. I also thought about it, but if her opponent doesn't push, it's a great move. If he takes. But I think he will push, unfortunately. We are in the right position, right? It's the same. Or did I miss something? I think it's the position, right? So d5 is a good practical move, but the only answer which is annoying is e5, because e5, then there is f6, and God knows what this bishop will become. The bishop will be trapped forever, basically. And she will play down a piece. Sure, no more attack, but down a piece. Down a piece. Or maybe she's counting on some tactics. Let's hope that her opponent plays e takes d. E takes d I really like, because first there is also knight f6 to win back the pawn, and you created yourself a good square. So I like how Tosh is very creative. Very creative. I'm throwing flowers at myself by the same way, because I also suggested d5, but that's not what I meant. I just meant I like these moves where you sacrifice material, but actually it's a good positional move. e5, yes, e5 is yes, is a killer. And her opponent is 2000, so I have a hard time thinking that he won't find it, especially given the time that he's taking. He's definitely seeing like, oh, okay, I can win a pawn, but I'm going to lose it right after. I'm winning the pawn, and then Tosh has an amazing knight, and everything is perfect in this position. The position shifted, but hear me out. What about pushing? Pushing is the issue here. Damn it. If he pushes, Tosh will be in trouble. Tosh will be in trouble. The computer suggest after e5 to tell you how dire the situation is. The computer suggests taking on f5. It doesn't want any more pawn. It doesn't want any pawn push anymore. So let's say e5. It says take the pawn. Okay, sure, you damage your pawn structure. Your king is weaker, but her opponent. She doesn't look happy, I think, about e5, and her opponent played d5. Though her opponent played d5. Damn, the game is not going well now. The threats are multiples. Even here, maybe okay, maybe not e6, right? Oh, she's about to make a move. Ooh, she's putting the hands on the table. But that's the moment where, okay, nice. She plays the best move. She recognizes that she can't afford to get the f6 pawn push. But I also like this move because now look, she gets a beautiful square for her knight, adding more defense. So actually the game is far from being lost. The game is far from being lost. And she plays it immediately, which I like, because showing her opponent, okay, like, you know what, e5 may seem a good move, but I had calculated everything. So psychologically, it may let your opponent think, I thought she blundered, but actually she answered immediately. So actually she knew what she was doing. And it's not like she's misplaying. She knows what she's doing. And and it can give your opponent a little bit of self-doubt. So after queen takes, maybe knight e6 is a nice move. The winner wants f6. f6 with the idea of here rook e8. It starts to be a little bit too complicated to probably put the knight there. It starts to be very, very complex. Knight f8, yeah. Okay, but here very complex. Very complex. Black can survive, but it's very complex. f6 is complex and not intuitive, because you can say, he's pushing again, and you're also blocking your bishop and putting a pawn on a weak square, pushing your... the f6 is not intuitive. I would not consider it, but unfortunately, I mean, also fortunately in chess, you need to consider every single move. Every single move. So her opponent has not taken back on f5. He is definitely considering other moves, probably something like maybe not queen there, but queen there and bishop there, because the bishop may be hanging. In that kind of position, if you open your king like g takes f, you need to be careful about that file. Very, very carefully. Even sometimes the rook can sacrifice, and if a bishop can come in like that, that would be deadly. But here, Tosh pieces are well placed in defense. Spam this coffin to help Tosh queen. Coffin. Please. Spam this coffin to... I made such a boring draw, such a sleepy game. Nice. Yeah, draw are not fun in chess. I mean, there are funny draws and there are like boring draws. This type of capture is pretty normal in this Grand Prix stuff. Okay. So I was not aware of... I'm not familiar with this kind of positions. That's probably why g takes f5. I never so much saw it. But I'm not familiar with these positions where you have the... This position is completely new. I never play Sicilian, and even less positions where it's like that. However, so her opponent is probably thinking, instead of taking the pawn, can I first, this pawn is gonna fall, there is no way for black to keep it, so white could delay the recapture. And actually all the best moves are not taking the pawn. They don't care about the pawn. But queen g2, it's funny, I'm looking now, it's one of the computer suggestions, putting a pin maybe you're going to move the king, put the rook, and start to apply pressure on that file. And that could be very dangerous. That could be very dangerous. Here, f6 apparently is the best move. You need to open maybe the 7th rank to defend laterally. Knight g3, and yes, actually the best is to recapture the pawn with the knight, not with the queen. But you can tell me, but what's the issue with the queen? The queen, but you now the square is occupied by the queen, so it will take more time to move back and come with the knight. So sometimes it's better if you see that you can recapture a pawn with another piece to actually delay the recapture. F6 is definitely findable. You're right. I'm just not familiar with these positions. It's a little bit tricky, but we are not sure how our opponent is going to take the pawn with the queen, and I think he may consider here knight g3 to recapture the pawn with the knight, which would be better. The knight on f4 on f5 is what we call a nightmare. No pun intended. The knight on f5 is a nightmare. I'm very proud of this pun. But it's true. The knight on f4 and f5, we often know that it's a real horrible piece, and often it leads to checkmates or wins material, or there's so many tactics involved. Like here, there, also the check, like the knight on f5 on f4. For me, it's like probably the best piece on the board. It's crazy how the knight can be like a meaningless piece in some positions. Like it has no squares, and in other positions, it's like incredibly strong, because it's weird. The knight has an L shape, so it may not control. It may control very important squares in a very specific configuration. It's crazy to me. The knight is such an interesting piece. What opening line did white go for in the end? It was closed Sicilian defense, Grand Prix variation. So it was something like queen f3, f4, e4, c5, f4, I think, d6, something with bishop b5, bishop d7, bishop takes d7, knight takes d7, and queen f3, something like that. So e4, c5, f4, d6, bishop b5, check, knight, bishop d7, bishop takes d7, knight takes d7, queen f3. I think that was the line. And then g6, and then I don't remember, maybe knight e2, bishop g7, something like that. Short castle, yeah, short castle, and g4, something like this. I think it was. I probably forgot knight c3 on the way, but something similar to that. I have the moves at the beginning, but I don't know if I got them in the right order. Yeah, so knight c3 first, g6, knight c3, bishop here, there, here, and knight f6. That was the beginning. And g4 after short castle by both sides, g4, which apparently is not a good move, but I think it's a good practical move, because Tosh played knight e8, which is not the best, but not the worst for sure. It's very logical. And the game continued like that. And we are in this position where her opponent is taking time. It's good because now he's catching up. She is catching up on the clock. Pretty rare line, I think. Yeah, exactly. I think it's a pretty rare line with g4. Good morning, Michael. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Mikhail, I would say Mikhail, if it's a Russian name. Michal, maybe. We thought it would be knight c3 plus g3 setup. Because, yeah, okay. I won't say any more words. Okay. Knight c3 plus g3. Okay, so he didn't go for a g3 setup. Okay, he took with the queen. Eventually, all that thinking to take with the queen. Interesting. I thought he would go with knight g3 and take with the knight. I don't know what he saw. Because maybe f6. But okay, he decided to take with the queen. It's not the best move. But white still has a good advantage. And she immediately answered with a5. 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 She played a5. a5. a5, my only concern is the action is happening on that side and you play on the other side where you're under attack, and each tempo may be very important. So a little bit dangerous. And her opponent, I think, played rook a3, the move I was fearing. Right? Rook a3, it's the best move. Now, apparently, according to the computer, black is in huge trouble. Black is in huge trouble. Because he's going to attack very hard. I don't see yet why we are in huge trouble, but okay. Apparently the position is very dire for Tosh. Right, rook a3 it was. I can't see very well the board. Okay, rook a3 I think. Let's try to think the next moves. She played rook a6, yeah. I really like that. Oh, that's why a5. I didn't understand. I was like, she's playing on the other side. But rook a6. Okay, it's very creative. I agree. Oh, actually, it's not. Yeah. Okay, so okay, maybe there is a big advantage. You can see the eval bar for white, but again, it's the computer. Practically, in practice, black is okay. Black is not so much in trouble, I think. Practically. Like the two best moves for white are king h1 and rook h3, and if not, white loses a big chunk of his advantage. And you see after knight f4, the advantage is going to shrink. So it's not so easy. Not so easy, and rook a6 is a good creative move. White must have some shot. Yeah, white has a shot for sure, but the goal is to prevent rook g6. But it's not. It's far from over. The computer wants something crazy. Bishop h6, hard. I mean, you're pinning the bishop, sure, but you're a little bit exposing your king. Not easy at all. She needs to take time. She needs to take time because it's a critical position. Is 96 also a move? I was thinking 96. Oh, there is also the rook lift is also aiming at that. Ooh. Rook h3 could be also very dangerous. So I don't even understand bishop h6, because bishop h6, rook h3, now you're pinned. You're defended by the rook, sure. But damn, it looks scary as hell. So scary for black. Everything looks scary now. But we saw last game yesterday, she was in a bad position. Her king was also exposed, and I feel like Tosh is good at playing positions defense. Like, she has good defense resources. So I would not be surprised if she gets out of this dire situation. She needs to try to exchange some material. Yeah, it would definitely reduce the attack. So I was thinking 96, but apparently 96 is made by rook h3. Now this is under attack. Checkmate threat. But, oh, queen g5 check. You exchange the queens. And now you're fine. Are you? Maybe there are some tactics. Maybe there are some tactics. Oh. Once the knight moves, there is that move. Ooh la la. Okay, knight e4. Ah, knight e4. Wow, it starts to be very complicated and apparently not in white's favor. In black's favor. The best move is bishop h6, but it's very not intuitive, I think. But because you're going to get pinned everywhere. Okay. Tosh. Tosh. Are you able to get away with that position? I'm trying to think. I would strive for a queen exchange. So 96 is good. What happens after knight h5 though? Knight h5, very scary as well. What about knight e6, knight h5? Did I miss something? Preventing the queen exchange? Ah, apparently here f6. God. And apparently it's better for black. Go find that on the board. It's impossible. Why? Ah, you take back with the knight, you get a tempo, and maybe you're even gonna push. Or take. Wow, it's hard to find. Hard to find f6 in this position, I think. Do you think f6 is a findable move? Like, you think, okay, there is 96, 95, but here I have f6, of course, and I'm better. Is that obvious? Or I'm just really bad? Guys, question, is there any simple opening that I could do in like a chess tournament? Because I'm going to be in my sports festival chess games and I know a good opening. Okay, listen, Pokemon. I will just call you Pokemon. Kakashi Pokemon. A good opening I can recommend if you don't have time to learn or something simple is Reti. You play the Reti knight f3, even with bishop g2, g3, bishop g2 setup, c4, d5. You get all the space. You have a wonderful bishop. It's very easy to play. So I would recommend the Reti knight f3 and g3, bishop g2, coupled with c4 and d4. If you can achieve that, you will have a very good game. I mean, easy to play. That's what I would recommend. So here, definitely a tough variation to find. Knight e6, knight h5. I would almost stop my calculation here. Almost. Because I would say I'm losing my very good bishop. And everything is going to arrive in my face. But apparently here there is only one saving move, guys. Only one, f6. All the rest loses on the spot. So damn, 96 may be discarded because of that. Chess is hard. Chess is hard. Some basic Italian game for white, and for black maybe Caro-Kann or French. Right, I just spoke about white repertoire, but for black you can play the Caro-Kann. Very easy to play also. Very easy, Caro-Kann or French, yeah. And white, also Italian is easy to play, so you could go also with Italian game. Ah, she's about to make a move. We see her hands moving. And she takes it back. I like that. Ah, she's about to make a move again. It's crazy how it's, I mean, crazy. Like, so interesting, the thought process. And now she's looking at the clock and like, oh, damn. I'm not decided yet. Mm-hmm. All right. She has not decided yet. But she was about to make a move. I wonder what it was. Maybe 96. Maybe bishop h6. Maybe... You know what's the best? I mean, the third best computer move? You will never guess. Knight b8. Who would play that in a game? Apparently it's okay, also losing, but it's relatively the third best move. I wonder what's the idea. Maybe to trade queens, I don't know. But it's crazy. You're under attack and you move the knight back to its original square. I mean, I don't know if it's that knight that was there. But yeah, crazy, insane. By the way, I didn't introduce myself. I'm so sorry, the beginning was a little bit hectic. You will find me back on round 4. Anyways, so not this afternoon. I mean, not today, but tomorrow. You will find me back. And I'm chess cooking. I'm French, as you guessed. And I'm also an OTB player. I am about 1850. Thank you for the shout out. I'm about 1850 in FIDE. That's about me, and I'm playing in France, basically, the tournaments, also all over the world. And last year I actually won the French championship in my ELO category, so I finished first. So I'm improving a lot recently. I'm really happy too. And she plays queen e8. Queen e8, reasonable move. But apparently black has many good options. I'm not sure what's the idea behind. Maybe now play f6. No, actually it doesn't make sense. Okay, she wants to play f6, but she didn't because she was like, there is this. Right, and she's right. She's right to think so. So queen e8 aims at playing f6, I think. I understand, but apparently it doesn't work. h6, the pawn was under attack. Queen g4, trying to eat the pawn, and apparently it's already lost. Yes, Ah, yes, the knight is jumping in. Okay, here everything is too loose. You need to lose the pawns. Rook g1. Okay, the situation is just impossible. Okay, so um, apparently the attack is too strong now. Apparently the attack is too strong. She's trying to push f6, but yeah. I prefer queen e7. It has more options for the queen. That's true. That's true. But queen e7, yeah. No, you're right. I don't know. Maybe queen e7, maybe slightly more accurate. Was that an option? Not really. Apparently, the commentator says don't move the queen. It's so hard to play. Guys, it's so hard to play these positions in defense that I don't blame her for anything. It's tough. When you reach these positions, it's tough. Too bad she had the right idea, but the wrong move to stop e6 from white. Yeah. Exactly. Apparently, we said that the best moves were rook h6 and bishop h6. Damn, rook h6 is also hard to play. You're putting your rook in front of the bishop. So now what happens after? I don't know. It seems like there are too many tactics. Apparently there are not. But okay. I would say... also I'm... No, what happens after that, for instance? Now rook g6. Okay, it's complicated. These are tough moments. There are so many possibilities. I'm not showing you all the lines because I think everything is very complex. But what we can say is queen e8 is a good practical move aimed at preventing e6 and maybe pushing f6 to defend. But, no, but also knight h5. What about knight h5? Apparently it's not a big threat. Probably because the rook can come in defense. So what the convert thinks, it's very simple. And her opponent didn't play that. Her opponent played rook h3. Rook h3 is a mate in one threat, forcing pretty much some moves. Either h6 looks bad, either rook g6, sacrificing material to take with the f pawn and protecting then the h pawn, or the most logical move maybe rook h6. Rook h6, and I think if white trades everything, let's say take. Okay, that's what she plays. Perfect. It's okay for black. It gets a little bit better. Wow, the position is almost equal. If he takes the rook, guys, the position is almost equal. Wow, it's crazy. Chess is insane. Chess is insane. It goes from losing. Wow, it's crazy. Like how a simple move like can put everything back. So we are at this position. We are... No, not this position. This position. No, wait. She didn't play rook h6. Did she play rook g6? Can you check? But I think she played rook g6. Did I miss something? Like, it's not that bad, but why would you sacrifice material? Because the knight is too strong, and then, okay, the attack stops, at least. For some point. Damn, why not rook g? Why not rook h6? I wonder. I mean, it's not way better, right? But there was the... If white traded, it would have been equal. So first there was that trap. Apparently, white needed to just put back some pieces into play. But rook g6, I don't know why. Maybe she was scared of like rook g3 now and threatening some discoveries on the rook. But every time there is a discovery, you maybe play rook g6. Let's say it was that way, rook g3, and now knight e6. You can take back with the rook. Rook g6. Apparently it's okay, you're losing some pawns, but the attack is almost gone. It's hard. And now these two pawns are advancing in the center. And knight d2 is the only good move. Come on, go figure that by yourself. It's interesting, very interesting, but very hard to find. So we went. The game continued with rook g6 check. Her opponent is not rushing to take, which is good for him. Maybe he will consider not taking. Okay, she's sacrificing a little bit of material, but at least she's stopping the attack and getting some compensation, right? Or at least that's what we hope. So after f takes, of course, or maybe no, there is also h takes, but it looks weird. F takes, I think, to open the rook. Queen g4, maybe aiming for queen h4. And at least Tosh got rid of this rook which was doing nothing against a very active knight, and then she can play back with her pieces. So much pressure for black, yeah. The position is not easy. And thank you for the raid, Gadowski. Gadowski, I don't know if I'm saying it right, but thank you for the raid. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. What's some basic Italian game for white I can play? What kind? It's hard to say. Like, first, I'm not sure I understand your question. You mean what kind of variation in the Italian can you play or learn? I would say pianissimo. You should learn like the basics where to put your pieces. The four knights, yeah, four knights Italian is not so good, but it's very. I mean, it's not so good. It's very solid. The c3 d3 sleepy game, yeah, exactly. c3 d3, very sleepy. I mean, sleepy. It's positional. I like positional games. And c3 d3 is positional. It's a little bit sleepy, but positional. Nice. I played that a few days ago. I mean, not a few days ago. I played it yesterday, actually. Yesterday I played the c3 d3, and actually there was some hit on quite fast. And it was the first time I was playing that. Oh, it makes me want to play OTB chess, to look at the whole, to see all the players, this atmosphere. I love it. I miss it and I love it. I haven't played a good tournament like this one, like the one Sligo, in a while. I mean, since August. I mean, I've played some tournaments, but like small things, not international tournaments. The last one was in August, which was the French Championship. Rook, king h1. It's a good waiting move. And wait, what? He didn't take the rook? Can we talk about that? I mean, he's right. Actually, his knight is so good that he didn't want to take the rook. Actually, it's a good move, but damn, he has some. He's good not to take the rook. I mean, he's good. Both options are possible, but um, damn, it must puzzle Tosh because she was ready to get some material. I mean, to give up some material in order to get some compensation, but instead he refused it. He said, "Okay, stay with your rook. I'm still threatening to take your rook. The rook ain't going anywhere exactly." And now you have a tough decision. Do you save your rook? Do you want to move again your rook? But in any case, listen, I'm going to go to the g file with my rook if you move your rook away. So now it's even a tougher decision. And do you really want not to save your rook? I'm not sure. Now I would leave the rook where it is. And the computer says, leave the rook where it is. You decided to give it away. Give it away. Don't change your mind, because if you change your mind, now, believe me, it's bad. It's really, really bad. Therefore, now you decided to give your rook away. Leave your rook there. It's a very good move by her opponents. Very, very good move. Damn. Um, Tosh is in a tough position. Tosh is in a tough position now. But it's not the end of the game. Definitely not. Yesterday, I think, I don't know exactly the evaluation, but it was pretty hard also. And she managed to get out of the muddy waters. So she could definitely renew the feat. What could she play? Listen, I like. What do I like here? 96? Okay. You're welcome, Kakashi. Just keep in mind that listening to an opening while sleeping may not help you learn your opening, okay? Especially in one night, if you need to learn an opening, my best take is to just get a sense of where the pieces belong without learning specific moves or things, but more learning the ideas behind the opening. Because if you just learn moves, you won't remember anything and the game won't go the way you learned. So the best way is to just get a feeling of what the moves are. Yesterday, it was -2. Okay, sure. So, why not today? I mean, it's +3, almost, +2.8. But why not? Why not? Yeah, definitely. You're welcome for the tips. The best is to play the moves with the computer if you're in a rush and get a sense of where the pieces belong. Because in most cases, the pieces will belong to more or less the same squares. Or there will be like ideas that will recur in many positions. For example, c3 b5, c3 b4. If you push d4, if you put your knight to f1, then to g3, if you push f4, all these kind of ideas in the Italian. This seems easy to play for white though, and black is stuck. Sadly, yeah. Tosh is about to make a move. She's. I love how she always get the hand. Maybe her opponent should do the same so she can grab the hand and check for a draw. But she's always putting the hand like that, reaching, and then no, I'm going to take it back. I'm going to think a little bit more. And also she's very calm. Kudos to her. Not an easy situation to stay calm. And chess can put you in a lot of emotional states. And this one would be scary. But she keeps her calm through the whole situation, so that's a very good point. Ah, she's about to make a move. I see her hands cannot stay under the table. She's about to make a move. She's about to make a move. And no, we don't have a move. Oh, she's about to make a move. And now she played it. Knight b6. Knight b6 is on the board, which is on the opposite way. I don't know. It's not a bad move. It's not a good move either. Maybe the idea is to go there and chase the queen away. Maybe. But also, I don't see a good path for white to continue attacking. I mean, the computer wants rook g1. Crazy. The computer wants rook g1, saying this knight on f4 is worth more than a rook. So don't trade the knight for the rook, but just trade the defender. Trade the defender. Like now takes, even with the king. It's so funny. And now Blackie is lost. The knight here is too. I understand the other idea behind. The other idea behind knight b6. It's to protect the pawn and to go knight e6 and trade. So let's look back. Here. Okay. No, that we said no. So king h1, I think. So she played knight b6. Maybe now knight e6. But what? Apparently there is an issue with knight e6. First it's white to play, but let's say that. What's the issue? Now you take with the knight. Take. And queen g4 is apparently crushing. Even though white is... Notice that white is playing down a piece. The knight here is not playing, but white pieces are so active that apparently it's crushing. Probably you may want to exchange the defender. Rook a5. Okay. Oh, it's dangerous, rook f5, because the moment the bishop moves, you have queen takes. So for instance that. And even if take, you could play maybe queen f5 intermediate move. Rook f5 is a dangerous move. I would not play it. But apparently here, queen f7 to protect the rook. And apparently it's a little bit worse. It's a little bit better, sorry. But these are incredible. Apparently the best move for white is to involve the knight. And maybe, I don't know where the knight belongs. But that would be slightly better for white. Okay, let's go back to where we were. Bishop h6. No, we were there. Okay, knight b6. I'm muting myself because there is a siren in the background, so just a few seconds. Thank you guys for the follow, thank you so much. Lately I've not been able to stream, by the way. I will stream once a week, I think, slow pace, soon. But not be able to stream recently, but thank you for the follows anyways. So knight b6 idea is to Okay, her opponent played the best move. Rook g1. He wants to keep that knight. That knight is very good. He wants to keep it, so he's happy not to give the knight for the rook. That shows deep understanding by Camille. He's good. He's definitely good. It's funny because I found that on other aspects of the game, like earlier, there were some moves that I would have played differently and maybe played um, variations which were looking maybe a bit better. But on this kind of moves, I must say, like, he's much better. I would have not. I would have maybe taken the rook, maybe. But he's happy not to take the rook and exchange a defender against black by playing rook g1. So she's holding. She's holding. That's what we can also notice. Tosh is holding. I could see the game ending in a draw or even in Tosh favor. Honestly, like I feel like there are some cases. By the way, here Tosh is not obliged to take at all. She could just wait. So black can repair the structure. By the way, my screen turned off. I don't know what's happening. Um, okay. Okay. Yes, sorry for the bug, guys. My screen turned off. Sorry for the small disruption. Um, technical issue. Hey, how are you? Yes, there is a tournament link. You can ask Warrior. I think he may have already pinned even the tournament link in the description in the chat. So you can find the tournament link there. But notice that the live board is a little bit delayed. A little bit delayed. Okay. And thank you, Warrior, for the link. Ah, the tournament link, not the live board link. Sorry. Yes. Okay. Thanks. The playing hall is so nice, by the way. Oh, it makes me want to play so bad in these kind of halls with all the players. Oh God, I love the atmosphere. I'm missing it. Maybe I will be considering playing an international tournament soon. So nice. I think I never played an international tournament. I played national tournaments in some countries, but never like an international open to multiple nationalities. I mean, it's always open to multiple nationalities, but yeah. The only thing is the traveling. The traveling is always a question, but right now, Tosh is in her country where she's living in Ireland. It's really funny that they got matched together with Camille. If they know each other for a long time, someone mentioned in the chat. It's also funny that he's Polish, so they are the same nationality. I wish I could speak Polish, by the way. I wish I could. Mm. It's a nice language. Poland is a very nice country. Actually, I've never been to Poland. Not yet. Yeah. Oh, maybe it will be on my list to visit next time. Yeah, very nice. No saving this, sadly. I think 2 passive king on h1 chilling. Yeah. Listen, like, it. I would say maybe not like 0 chance saving, but um, tough. Tough, but if she survives and her opponent gets maybe frustrated or something, I see her as maybe saving. But it's true that the computer says +3 up to +4. But we never know. We never know, right? Chess is like we never know until the last move. Really. So I would not say the situation is yet completely lost. I would say it's losing, but not completely lost. Can you guys tell me, or I will do it? I will just do it. Perfect. Okay, she has 22 minutes. I mean, a little bit less because that's the live board. She has less than 20 minutes and he has about 45 minutes. So the situation is not good time-wise, but not yet critical. As long as she's not under 10 minutes, it's okay, I think. I mean, maybe now she is after the last moves. I think she's probably around 12, 13 minutes, something like that. Rook g1. Rook g1, rook g1. Maybe she needs to look for an endgame. Maybe. I mean, knight b6, the last move was aimed at protecting and keeping the material. So she should probably most likely play knight e6 to trade. Hopefully, maybe her opponent will take. We never know. Maybe. Maybe. She's looking at other moves, like other resources. We never know, but here it's complicated. I think the main thing in the game, the critical moment, and I will ask her why, was when she didn't open here. When you close, now everything is in white's favor. Here it's a very, very critical moment. And you need to open. You need to open c takes d4, or even the computer says d5 or queen e7, but keep the tension. If you close, now look, you have 4 pawns here. And everything is in white's hands. Everything is in white's hands. So c4, I really wonder why she played it. I will ask her. But I think the game shifted from that point, because after it's only white who plays for an advantage, and you think taking on f5 also yeah, maybe also taking on f5 is not great, but the computer already says it's really hard to play from here. Taking on f5 with the g pawn, right? No, she took with the e pawn, sorry. That's true. That's true. It also spiced up the game in the bad way for Tosh. So you're right. Taking on f5, like c4 followed by taking on f5. Here it's better not to move and play d5. It wanted d5. We'll ask her about these 2 games, and I'm sure she will learn a lot from that. But we can notice that she was very creative with a5, rook a6 to involve her rook. That was really good, even though it's not maybe the computer choice. I think it's one of the best moves, a5, like the fifth best move in that position, and it's very creative. So I liked all of these moves. Just the position is already hard to play. So even if you're creative in a almost losing position, it will be complicated. Oh, I didn't see. Thank you, Sferu, for the raid of 102 viewers. Thank you so much, and thank you. We'll have a nice stream. Cool. So we are in that position. Tosh is a little bit under pressure, whether it's time pressure or on the attack. She's on the defense. I mean, she's under attack. But we believe in her in finding good resources. She's about to make a move. We can see her hands preparing, and indeed, knight 96. The move that we expected. Now, white apparently can take. But if he takes the knight, let's say, the position I would say is better for black. So we can hope he will. I don't know. Somewhat get mistaken. I doubt that, but we never know. At least she's asking questions and playing moves that if white doesn't play the right move, he loses or Tosh gets an advantage or comes back in the game. Regarding the time situation, I have the live board, so it may not be accurate because there is 15 minutes delay. But Tosh is probably around 12 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, and her opponent has 40 minutes. So she's around, I think, 10 minutes, and her opponent has 40 minutes. So the time situation is a little bit complex, but not critical yet. Not critical yet. Queen h5 is a good move also. Queen h5 threaten again, mate in 1. Queen h5, rook takes. So queen h5, apparently the computer suggests get rid of the rook. Rook takes g1, king takes g1, h6. I believe the only move to save the checkmate. And then rook g3. And then, sure, you survived, but you made a whole lot of holes in your position. And now, let's do the continuation. Now every time you move your takes, h6, rook g3, and now threatening to take on g6, on the h6. And if you play that to avoid, knight takes d5, yes, to take here, and it's checkmate basically. A brilliant move. Wow, that would be a brilliant move by white. Notice that it's not taking the knight, because then the queen defends. So actually the good move here is knight d5. You want to clear the path for your bishop, and here it's a mate threat, so you cannot afford that. For instance, that would be mate, so you cannot take because it's mate. But also if you cannot take, first he's gonna take with checkmate. Here black has no defense, so it's lost. It's just delaying the checkmate. That could be the continuation, seriously, of the game. That could be the continuation, because in all that sequence, black plays very defensive moves, but basically black cannot do anything. Here the best answer is f5. You see, you already start to give pieces to survive the checkmate, and okay, like you have no chance of coming back. Here I would say it's completely lost, but not yet, not yet. So the move that could put really black in trouble is queen h5. Queen h5 is a very forcing line because we need to defend that pawn, and that pawn is not easy to defend. You need to play h6 and then h6. Everything points towards it. So, damn, that would be almost end of the game. If her opponent plays queen h5, Tosh will have a hard time to come back from queen h5. She will do some magic and hold. Yeah, I believe in magic. But queen h5 is tough. She's down almost 30 minutes. Yes, she's down probably 30 minutes. He'd have a stroke. He would have to a stroke to take that knight. What do you mean? He would have to take a stroke. But okay, maybe from here it's hard to see that at the end of the line you have knight d5. But I believe if he plays that here, there, here, and that, king h8 to unpin, I think it's not too hard in this position to visualize knight d5. I think. I would probably find it on the board. Probably. No, he played queen h5. Damn it. Okay. Now the situation is bad. Really bad. Really bad, because whatever she plays, I think will kind of transpose in the lines I just showed. I think, because there are not many solutions. h6 is the only move to prevent. No, there is also rook h6. But rook h6 is a blunder because queen takes. Right? The bishop is pinned. So there are not many options. And because there are not many options, I believe we'll mostly transpose in that line, and her opponent may find knight takes d5 at the end. May. There are still a few possibilities on the board, but we are, I think, going towards this kind of line. So probably rook takes, king takes, h6, and now there are a few more possibilities, but if rook g3, it will completely transpose in the line. Here the most logical move is to first get rid of your rook instead of being taken, and then play h6, only then. Because if you play h6 immediately, it just makes things worse. Right? So you need to get rid of the rook first. Okay, after queen h5, the situation is tough. Because it's plus 3.5, but if not rook takes g1, it's plus 5 and plus 8. Okay, she took. So she's playing the best move still, surviving. Probably h6 is to follow. Yes, we are aiming towards the line we are seeing. Yes. Now it all depends. Oh, wow. Listen, guys. Actually, I maybe spoke a little bit too fast. If her opponent doesn't play rook g3 or knight d2, listen to me carefully. Tosh is back in the game. Tosh, I will repeat one more time. If her opponent doesn't play rook g3 or knight d2, as incredibly as it may sound, Tosh is back in the game. The position is equal if he doesn't play one of these two moves. So we have hope. Wow, chess is a lot of emotions today. Incredible. What a turn up of events. I don't want to jinx it, so let's not jinx it. But rook g3 is a pretty much logical move. Well, what's the alternative to these two moves? I don't know. Maybe king h1. We never know. We never know. We never know. But it's true. These are not so hard moves to find. No, I don't know. He could move the queen back. Maybe queen g4. Maybe we don't know. Queen g4 is the same idea. You're trying to take, but like that. So there are other moves on the board. Sorry, but queen g4. Queen g4 apparently, knight takes f4, bishop takes f4, and the game is equal after queen e6. Nice. Very nice. And then you go to g6, I guess. And you pin the queen and you exchange everything. And her opponent played, damn it. He played rook g3, I think. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it, damn it, damn it. Rook g3. Rook g3 puts us back in the situation where it's completely losing. We had hope for a few minutes. The hardest game to win is a one game. That's a good quote. That's a good quote. I think it's Kasparov who said that. Wait, the move is rook g3, right? I didn't miss anything, right? That's the board we have. I'm just trying to see. Yeah, I think it's rook g3. Rook g3. We are. I told you, like, guys, 5 moves ago, I told you we are going to go into that line. King h8, and if her opponent finds knight takes d5, it's pretty much game over. Game over. It's funny, I was telling you, like, there are a lot of lines in which we will transpose to that because these are only sensible moves. And if we don't have the same order, we'll transpose. Yes, it's on the board. Damn. Unless she finds an amazing resource that I don't see. I mean, king h7 is also maybe a move, but king h7, queen f5, I don't know. Doesn't look appetizing as well. King h7 is the best move, but doesn't it run into the same thing? I mean, you're protecting more that pawn, so maybe it's better. Queen f5, king h8, and knight h5. It looks horrible. But not game over yet. Okay, not game over yet. So we never know. Maybe she plays king h7 instead of king h8. King h8 runs into this. So king h7 is more resisting more. Let's see what she plays. Hopefully she can see that king h8 is a big issue. I forgot to consider king h7 before. And if we look at the time situation, Tosh is probably, so right now she has under 10 minutes, but we know the board is delayed 15 minutes. So I think she's running on only a few minutes, if not 1 or 2 minutes right now. 1 or 2 minutes, because she has 9 minutes on the live board, but 15 minutes delay. Her opponent played quite quickly. So she must be running definitely under 5 minutes. So the game is approaching a critical point. She needs to play a move. And she looks at the clock. Her opponent is very, very, very stressed. We can see his legs shaking. all the way. All the way. Look at his legs. Look at his legs. We could produce electricity from all the energy he's giving to the crowd. He's also very stressed, even though he's attacking. It's crazy how chess. Okay, she's looking back at the clock, so she must be really, really low on time. And she needs to take a decision now. She needs to take a decision. Her opponent is probably also going to look at the clock if she's running so low. Okay, she's looking back at the clock. It means that she must be really, really low. Probably under a minute, I think. Yes, and she makes a move. Okay, knight knight g4. I didn't consider that move. What happens after that? Okay, it's a good move. Maybe he will miss h4. But he has plenty of time. He has 40 minutes or 30 minutes. Yes, what about h4? h4, the knight moves and the queen takes h6. And now everything is open. Damn. Ooh, yay. She wants knight e4, queen e6. Okay, he plays h4, knight e4, and queen e6. Yeah, maybe. Or queen c6. Queen c6, your queen is hanging. So probably queen, but queen also is hanging there. You can't play queen c6 or queen e6. So knight e4, but knight e4 there is that. Oh yeah, the rook is hanging. Sorry, so he cannot play. Sorry. So knight e4, it's not the end of the line. It's not the end of the line, but just white keeps the pin. White keeps the pin and keep to threaten that, and okay, she gets a good knight maybe. But apparently the situation is worse. Apparently, but actually it makes the game longer. So actually it's a good resource that she found. She's trying to complicate things, which is good. So knight e4 is good. You just need to double check if there is no mate after h4, but she must be reading. Wait, I missed something. No, I must have missed something because it's his turn. And there is still h4 and the knight. What did I miss? She sacrificed the knight, but she played another move here. She played f6, so he took the knight. Now she's just down a piece. She tried the queen exchange, but the knight was hanging. She probably panicked a little bit, or maybe she was like, okay, first I'm not going to get mated. I will just play the endgame down a piece maybe and try to make the game longer. But she's down a piece now. And her opponent seems very, very confident. She's going to not exchange. No, she's taking back the pawn. Oh, she has two passed pawn connected. Okay, sure, the opponent can trade the queens, but she has connected passed pawns. We never know. It gives some chances, some compensations. And maybe on queen takes, maybe, I don't know, she will take here. Probably not good, right? But okay. He trades the queens, very sensible move. I expect rook takes, yeah. No questions asked. And now the knight can also infiltrate, maybe. Something like even that, maybe. Sacrifice and... okay, maybe not, but okay. Probably knight back. I mean, he has everything. He's up a piece. He has the pawns here, very powerful. He just needs to play it back with his knight, but the game is not over. At least the game is not over, because even though he's up a piece, she has connected pass pawns here, so we never know. There may be some tactics. He plays knight h5, very sensible move, trying to either go there or to take the bishop and exchange more pieces. The game is tough, and Tosh is playing down a piece. Knight h5 and then knight d2. Yeah, exactly. He doesn't need to rush anything. He can just play it slow, improve his pieces, and black doesn't have so much counterplay, and black cannot push his pawns, her pawns. Tosh cannot push her pawns as well, so it will be complicated. It will be complicated, but yeah. At least it's different a type of position now. The previous one was harder for white. The previous one was harder for white to mess up. Yeah, I agree. Like it was a strong attack. He could fall asleep for one move here, and maybe we find something. That's right. I agree. It's a good practical decision. It's a good practical decision, especially that she was low on time. And she played rook f8, by the way. She played rook f8. Yeah, exactly. Rook f8, trying to take control over the file, but will you actually do something on that file? Not right now. Not right now. I think knight d2 should be... Ah, so that's what he played. Okay, knight d2. As I was speaking, he played it, putting his last piece into the game. Very important, because otherwise he would also play with 3 pieces. But now he's playing with 2 knights, 1 bishop and 1 rook, while Tosh is only playing with 1 bishop, 1 knight and 1 rook, so she's down a knight. She's down a knight, and she plays knight a4, attacking the pawn, trying to get some play. If he pushes, maybe she gets a square. She's trying to get something. It's good. Now, also one pitfall that he could fall in, and the game is far from over, is that when your opponent is low on time, one typical mistake to make is to play fast moves. If you have a lot of time, you should never play fast moves against your opponent who is playing fast, because he is low, because basically you're playing a blitz. But it's very tempting, it's very human if your opponent plays fast to catch up the pace and to play on the same pace that he's playing on. So if she plays fast, which she's doing because she's low on time, right? He could also play fast, maybe get caught, but it seems like he has a lot of experience because he's taking his time, and maybe make a mistake. That's what we also can hope for. He want to avoid forcing lines when pressuring the clock too. You want to avoid... Yeah, exactly. You want to avoid forcing lines. That's good, because if you force the lines, exactly, your opponent will only have one answer, and maybe it will be a forcing line which is not good for you. So your opponent who is low on time will inevitably end up in a good situation, but not because of him, but more because of you. Therefore, Camille is good. He's taking his time. He's not rushing. But notice that this pawn is not easy to defend, by the way. I think probably the computer wants something crazy. But actually it's a tactics. Bishop takes h5, g5, h takes, rook takes. Oh no, it's not a tactics, it's just attacking the king. Rook f7, pretty much forced. Maybe e6. Rook e7, and knight f3, bringing the other knights, and just it's crushing. King f8, getting out of the pin. Rook f5, king g8. Why not here? Rook takes d5. Ah, yeah, okay, everything falls. Okay. Okay, it's also findable because you sacrifice your piece you were up for 2 pawns. So now it's equal material, but you have a lot of pawns. There is no way you play that. I think he will play it slowly. There is no rush for playing bishop takes g5. There is no rush. Okay, he can play much safer. The second best move is knight f1. So you don't care about that pawn. You say, please take my pawn, but I'm bringing all my pieces to the attack. And his knight disappeared to f3. That's the same mindset. He's like the same reasoning. Like, okay, go take my pawn. I don't care. It will take time for you to make a pass pawn, because even if you take, it will take some time. You need to push, and so on and so on. So now it's very hard because the Tosh didn't. Okay, I thought she would take some time, but she's like, I'm grabbing the pawn. You let me grab. Now prove it that you are attacking. Prove it. But now the sacrifice on that square is even stronger, and he will definitely look at sacrificing on g5 and winning something. Definitely, because there is the forcing line. Even e6 could be a move, I think. e6 is setting up the trap of taking, because let's say black plays that. Now there is takes. How do you defend that bishop? You don't. I mean, there is the knight hanging, sorry, but okay. So you need maybe to make a preparatory move. Okay, it's Tosh. No, it's Camille's turn. The game is not over. It's a good practical decision by Tosh. We never know. He could blunder his knight. The knight is protected by the rook. She could find some tactics. The game is not over. I see a funny move also. Maybe knight here. What's the goal? Wait, he played a move. Oh, he sacrificed the knight, I think. There is this funny move. I was thinking, like, okay, you sacrificed your knight, but at least you get a passed pawn. Sure, you're not going to promote, but it was fun for a second. Okay, he immediately sacrificed, and I think the idea is the same, except that now h takes, rook takes. Only move is rook f7, e6, rook e7 only move as well. I mean, not only move, but yeah. And you're in a lot of trouble. Everything is... and he's threatening knight e6, so she's more or less forced to take. Probably rook takes. But he takes his time. Oh, wait, I confused. He took with the bishop, sorry. He took with the bishop, my bad. Takes, and now knight here. That's the position we have on the board. He's threatening knight e6. How do you prevent that? Damn. Maybe rook f5? Will she find it? I think she's on her way to find it. No. She wants to prevent it like that, but... okay, but can still be played, by the way, because you win the bishop. The situation is also bad, but maybe not that bad. Yeah, it makes it a little bit less worse. Wait, why the because he sacrificed a piece, right? I think he didn't need to rush. He's you know what? I think he's playing a little bit faster. He's catching up on her pace, which is a good sign for Tosh. He's getting into the excitement of like winning. So the game is not over, guys. The game is not over. It's a good sign that he's speeding up his moves. It's a good sign for Tosh. Damn it, I erased the variation. Here, there, here. We are in this situation. So what's the goal of rook e8? To prevent knight e6. That would be devastating. But now the computer says, okay, just move back the knight. And you will have that threat. And now rook e7 is essentially forced. But it's good because he did a sacrifice. And he got too excited. And he didn't calculate this. He didn't consider this. Because otherwise he would play instantly. So he's surprised, and if you do a sacrifice and then your opponent makes a move and you're like, what do I do? It means you just sacrificed out of your guts. So the most important aspect is that Tosh gets a lot of confidence out of rook e8. Why? Because your opponent just sacked a piece on you. You play a move which seems okay, like normal move, like defending. And your opponent takes time, you're like, what? He sacrificed, but he didn't knew the path forward. So maybe he sacrificed just randomly, like he didn't see a win. So it gives you hope. It gives you hope. Knight f6 after rook e8 looks strong. Knight f6 actually loses a big chunk of the advantage, apparently. Knight f6, you take, and it's still winning for white, but it's not so clear. I think you shouldn't decrease the pressure, so you don't need to sacrifice right now. You need to play a little bit more torturing your opponent. Because knight f6 doesn't obtain anything. If Tosh gets one pawn to the other side, she could reverse the situation. Definitely agree. Now she has some hope with here. She has a candidate past pawn, which could be the b pawn if I'm not mistaken. Like if she push, she could get a pass pawn. Right now there is the rook on g3 preventing, but yeah, getting draw in this position is already godsend. Yeah, pray for her opponent to hand sleep like that. You mean? And then she catch the hand and she does okay. Thank you, draw. Thanks. Let's see. I doubt that he will do that, but he's in a deep thing that's really, really, really good for Tosh. She's a fighter, huh? She's a fighter to fight back, to keep fighting after all what happened. Damn, that's good. That's very good spirit. That's very, very good. She's still asking questions. And even though she's down a piece, yeah. What happens? Knight f6. Knight f6. Bishop takes f6. Wait, what did I miss? What do you mean knight f6, b takes f6? Knight f6, rook takes f6. Is it? No. Knight f6. I didn't consider that move. Knight f6, bishop takes f6. E takes. And hard to meet f7. I didn't see that move, but he didn't play that apparently. He played knight f3. But let's look one more moment. Takes. But here you, what do you play? Why wouldn't you play your rook here, for instance? I just want to understand. F7 check. Rook h3. Okay, got you. Rook h3, if you move here, there is even that. Hello, hello, hello. Take my rook, be pleased. Okay. But he didn't find that. He didn't find that. Let's go back to the game because it continues. It went fast. She plays rook e7 and he played knight h4. Knight h4. Threatening a fork again. Ooh, it will be hard now. Now she doesn't have a good solution. Rook here, there is e6, I think. And she needs to move and the knight is coming back. Damn, I think it's the end. I don't see a good defense, guys. I don't see a good defense. She's losing another piece. She's losing another piece, right? Yeah. If she moves the king to get unpinned, okay, she's losing. Rook a7. Rook f7. e6 is played with tempo. Okay, the computer starts to be crazy. It starts to say king f8 is the best move. You know when the computer tells you to sack a whole rook, you know that you're lost. Okay, she's going to move the rook and knight f5 is coming. Yes, and there is no space for the rook here. The rook cannot do everything and knight f5. Knight f5 seals the deal, I think. It's a fork and the bishop is attacked 3 times and you cannot defend it. Yeah, and she knows it. She probably knows. Okay, she fought back well. And there is also knight f6. Apparently it's a checkmate in 2. I didn't even see. Check. Oh yeah, and whether you go there or there, there is knight. Oh, that would be nice if he finds that. Did he find it? Yes, he found it. He found it. Check. King there. And knight there. Checkmate. That's our final position. And she was not sure. I think she thought she could move, but she got checkmated in that position, I believe. Sag, very sad, but damn, she fought well. Guys, that's the final position. Oh, that was a hell of a fight. She had some good chances and she will learn a lot from that game. She came back, she fought back for the best, but eventually it was not enough. Maybe we'll have a quick interview with her here. Hopefully, if she wants to give a quick interview, and maybe she will analyze the game with Camille and stuff. It was a tough game. I think she missed a few opportunities to get an advantage. She played well. At the beginning, maybe the opening was not perfect, but the middle game was really good with knight c7, b5. For instance, here she's definitely back in the game, but here it's a very important strategic decision, and she decided, no, here it's good, but here to close, that was maybe not the best decision, and here to take. These are the 2 key moves that maybe put her in a very bad spot. c4 and f5. And g takes f5. Yeah. Beautiful checkmate. Yeah, the rook and the knights, and her opponent saw it quite quickly, and he didn't rush for the material. He found the checkmate. That was quite impressive. All right, we'll wait a little bit for her to pack things and see if she wants to interview. Yeah. Yeah. We'll see now. Okay, these were the two critical moments. She probably went on a break, maybe bathroom break or something, or maybe just to take her phone also to turn it on. And we'll wait a little bit and see if she wants to join for a quick interview. Anyways, that was a good game. She needs to focus on the next game this afternoon. I think it's at 4 local time, something like that. Time to switch to Polish stream for game analysis with opponents. She's on another stream. Time to switch to Polish stream for game analysis. Her opening prep is much better than mine. It's at 3. Okay, it's at 3 the next game. Maybe we won't have the interview. I will wait a little bit more to see. And if not, we'll close the stream. Guys, it was a pleasure to have you. In all the cases, I hope it was insightful, that you learned something from the opening, from the moves. I think the two key moves which were important, like everything could have been played before, but I think like here, closing the center, not opening it while you're under attack and this is threatening, is maybe not the best decision. And the second thing is weakening your king side by taking, but maybe, I mean, probably she was scared of something else. Okay, she's maybe joining in. Cool. I will just need to check if you can hear her. Okay, she's moving the camera around. And yeah, we'll wait a bit then. I will keep that view and we'll wait a bit. Yeah, next game is in 1 hour and 45 minutes. Okay. If we end up playing next round, then you could end up playing next round. Yeah, maybe. There are not many players in your open, I think, right? There are like what, 20, 30 maybe? So it's definitely a possibility. We are navigating through. Oh, the Discord call ended. Maybe she lost the connection? Maybe? For now, I will display that. And we'll wait a few more minutes and see if she joins in. If not, we'll close the stream. The live board continues on playing. Okay, she's just heading to the room and then she will join us, okay? And that's what she said. So she's coming back, guys. Stay a little bit more. Oh, not that. Okay, stay a little bit more and she's joining, okay? This here I don't want to have it. Okay. Cool. So she's joining. She's joining. In 2 minutes, she will be there. Let's review the game quickly in the meantime. So Sicilian, closed game, d6, knight c3, closed Sicilian. So not intending to play d4 because the queen goes to f3 and trying to attack on the king side. G4 is definitely not the most common move. Apparently the best move was, believe it or not, knight b8. Hard, huh? Probably to put back the knight there, but it's hard when you move the piece towards one direction. It's hard to move it back. Wait, I noticed that you don't have. No, it's okay. Okay. Then the game continued. It was good. b5, very good. Trying to attack on the queen side. However, the turning point was really really good. The turning point was here. She needed to open the center to breathe a little bit and maybe put her pieces towards that direction and maybe get some play. However, she closed quite fast the game, the center, and then she's under attack, and she took on f5, which usually maybe not so good. Not so good. Sometimes it's better not to move, or at least that should be your default, not to move. And here, after d5, which was a good try, e5 is very strong, a very very strong response, threatening f6, maybe. So she has to take pretty much, and now the situation is just not good because your king is too exposed. And as I said, white king is also exposed, but white has the piece activity here, so it's not a big issue for him. A5 was a very creative way of defending laterally with the rook, but yeah, f5 was on move 5. f4, I mean. Yeah, maybe the move order at the beginning is not the correct one. You're right. Sorry for that. I missed a little bit the beginning. Then queen e8, good try. Rook g6, her opponent played well. He didn't take the rook. And here, knight g5 was also a good try. To try to defend, to try to get something. And she's equal in material until this point. And after h4, she played f6, trying to exchange the queens at all cost, even losing pawn. Maybe she thought the queen was not protected. Probably not, actually, because you still lose the knight. But okay. She took, it gave her good practical chances until here. She went for a pawn, which was also good practical chance to, in order maybe later on to get a pass pawn. However, her opponent accurately sacrificed the bishop to get an attack, and the king is way too exposed. The pieces are too strong, and he shifted a little bit with the knight and reached the critical f5 square, which would turn into a beautiful checkmate with the two knights and the king in the corner. What a beautiful way to checkmate. Sorry, Tosh, but that was a hell of a checkmate. But you fought well. I think the critical point, again, was the critical moments. The two key moments were after b4 to maybe open, take, knight takes, and sure, you have this pawn, which may be a little bit of a problematic, but wait, what happens after that? Queen b7. Okay, it's still not easy. It's still not easy, but knight b5 here. You remove the defender and you win the knight, so the pawn is indirectly defended. Anyways, it was not easy to find. But your intuition should maybe tell you to open the center. But okay, until here it's still okay. And here again there is another moment where she could maybe survive with d5, but taking on f5 only helps white in the attack. So that's where maybe things could have gone the other way around. And she allowed a nice checkmate on purpose for next TikTok. Maybe you will notice one thing. I think she was not sure it was checkmate, and honestly I would have not realized at the board as well, because it's a very rare checkmate with the 2 knights, and I think she was about to move her king elsewhere, like maybe to h7, I think, thinking it was not checkmate. I don't know, I saw her maybe not realizing for a second that it was checkmate. Okay, she's there, and here you go. Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
1 second.
How are you? Okay, we wait for a few seconds.
Hello.
Yes. Yes, wait, I'm going to put the sound here also.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, hi.
We can hear you. Hello,
How's the stream?
Good, it went good. A little bit at the beginning, few issues, but then it was perfectly fine.
Oh, what happened?
No, just setting up the live board, the stuff, like there was a bit of delay, but it was perfectly fine. Yes.
There's always a 50-minute delay. There's like just in case of cheating. So
Yeah.
we technically not supposed to. We're supposed to like treat the delay anyway. So how's the how's the game from your point of view? Because I'm not very happy, but
honestly, like that's my take, right? I think it was good. Like the opening was okay, maybe not the best, but I think where you made a little bit maybe inaccuracies or mistakes, but it's always
you
easy.
can actually you can send me the classroom on Discord. I can actually have a look on my laptop here.
The only thing is I didn't do it on Classroom because I couldn't join the classroom.
Oh, okay. Well, how did you do it?
I do it on an analysis board.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Okay, no worries.
I can send you the game.
I will have a bit of a delay on stream, but maybe I'll be able to see. So,
do you want me to send you the game?
No, I have the stream open. There will be a bit of a delay, but
okay.
Go ahead, you can.
Okay. So I will walk back. So the move order at the beginning is maybe not exactly correct, but that was the beginning, right? Until here, you're fine. Everything here is fine, I think. Nothing special, I think.
Yeah.
G4
I didn't expect him to play that, really. I mean, I wasn't really prepped anyway, but I didn't expect him to play.
To play G4?
No, play bishop b5 check and all that.
Okay, like to exchange the dice for
I was expecting he was playing something else.
Anyways, I think you did well here. And you, 98, I really liked. Even though it's not the top computer move, I really liked.
I thought.
Yeah.
Obviously, I was scared of the response, but I thought I was still holding it somehow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. One move to notice here is here in that situation, you could immediately play for b5.
I thought about it because I knew that he can't really take.
Yeah.
But I got a bit scared.
But it's not necessary. What you did is perfectly fine. It's not like the moment. Here you played very good. Like b4 is the best move and it gives you an advantage. I would even call it almost a big advantage. Because after knight b1, I mean, not a big advantage, but all the lines start to be in your favor.
Oh god.
But here you made a
I
mistake.
didn't like his move on knight b1 wasn't. I thought knight a4 will be stronger.
So knight a4 is not so much stronger because the knight is kind of stranded here.
Yeah, but then I think it's still better. It still limits my position a little bit more. I thought on b1 it's like that.
So apparently the computer likes this position for after c takes. But you need to open the center because first your bishop can breathe and you can play on the queen side, I guess. And here everything is in black's favor, everything. The position is better for you. Almost, like, yeah, in most cases. But you need to find some moves, okay? It's not so easy. Like queen e8, very hard, I think.
Yeah.
Or d5. d5 is more logical, I think.
Queen e8 I probably would find.
Yeah, queen e8, I guess the goal
play that
is
in the game.
to a little bit have some threats, and this pawn is not really, you're not worried to lose, you're not so much worried to lose it, I guess, also.
Yeah.
You get some counterplay, but what you did in the game is here, I would like to ask you, why did you push on c4? Like, I was wondering why...
I got a bit scared. I was a bit scared of opening the rook and having that d6 pawns weak.
Mm.
And I thought that if I will block his attack on the king side, I thought my pawns on the queen side will be quite scary, like in the end game or something. Which, but obviously his attack was too strong.
Okay, yeah, exactly. It was not an easy decision, but here it was a key moment in the game that turned everything. Because
what
when
was I supposed to play?
C takes d4 or d5. That was the path forward. And here again,
1 second, I just need to grab the charger from my laptop.
Sure.
Okay, I have it.
Yeah, so here there are a few options, but at none of the, like c4 apparently is not good because you push and you close everything. There were two other options. Queen e7. I guess the goal is to be able to take back with the pawn because you unpinned. Because if you stay like that and you play a random move, there is that.
Yeah.
Okay. So probably queen e7 was to unpin, but you need to keep the tension in the center or take. But pushing was like the start of the issues, I guess.
Yeah.
And d5 is the other move. You lose a pawn, sure, but it's not... you can always get it back, I guess. You can always get it back, probably... Okay, here it even says that, and... You get some counterplay. Here it's not so scary. I mean, I'm saying this because I have the computer evaluation. In a game, it's different. But apparently...
Yeah, no, I know. It was a pretty hard moment. I was very confused what to do. Like, his pawns were very scary.
So that was a turning point. Like, after c4, you got in a little bit in trouble. And after f5, the computer says, do not move. I mean, move but do not move these pawns. The only pawn you can move is d5 to try to solidify your pawn structure here. But taking e takes f5 was another huge... you speeded up the white's attack, I think.
Yeah.
After that, you defended well. Listen, like that was a good try. I came up with the same idea, but it only fails to e5. The only reason it fails is because of e5. If you didn't play e5, you were fine. So that was a good try. And here, the best move is to take on f, and then, like, what can you do? The situation is hard. It was so after a5, it was very good, creative. Like, but the situation is already like almost whatever you play is losing. So that was good. That was good also. Like all of that was good. It's just that he doesn't need to do anything particular to take the advantage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The situation is too hard, and
He didn't take my
yeah,
rook.
it was a good decision by him. Like except here, the computer wants to take, but the two other moves, it's fine. Like if he took, indeed, it gave you some counterplay, I think. So he played well, and here it's very forcing, and you couldn't do anything from here. Very forcing. There is nothing to do from that position, I think. But yeah, you played well. Like here also. And here I just wonder, why didn't you play maybe knight e4?
Knight e4?
Yes. So he cannot take because the rook is hanging. But it's not like you're winning, but it's just maybe asking more questions.
True. I kind of panicked. I was very long time, I think, at that
Okay.
point or something, and yeah.
But
Probably.
after, yeah, there is you played well. Even here, that position, you never know what your opponent can do. But at none of the points you had a tactical shot that you missed, or there was nothing that you missed. Even here, it's completely lost apparently. And after that, it's losing. Like there is nothing to do here.
Yeah, no, it just looked like he outplayed me.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say that. Like I think you outplayed him with b5 and b4. It was really good. That was your moments here. That was amazing before.
Well, I just kind of remember because it was kind of like in Sicilian, the b5, and before it's the queen side attack, it's pretty common. So I was like, there's not much I can do. At least I'll try to do something. But obviously with c4, I killed it.
Yeah, exactly. I think if there is one thing to remember in this game, it's like maybe not close the queen side when you're under attack here, and maybe open it, even at the cost of a pawn or pins or something, but at least look after in the long term his king is exposed, so maybe maybe
knight g5 and 94. When was that?
Wait, so knight b1.
No, just reading the chat, sorry. That the Coffin thought that the idea of knight g5 was to go knight d4 and then queen c6. Oh yes. Yeah, but I don't know, something happened. Like I already kind of panicked and I already felt like I'm losing, and
knight g5, knight e4, and queen.
I thought I'll get checkmated, so I didn't. I just was scared.
Something like that. Yeah. But apparently here, what do you do after queen g4? You cannot defend, no? You need to sacrifice a piece, yeah. You cannot defend.
Yeah, I feel like it was just kind of losing anyway at this point. And I still tried till the end, even with the piece down, but obviously that was already losing.
Yeah, but listen, I don't think it was a bad game. A bad game, I think, is when you lose all the way. But here you had a few moves where you were not winning, but able to take the advantage. So
yeah, I know. It's
and
okay.
And on top of that, listen, like you defended well. Here, I would have resigned, and you keep fighting. So it's also a good sign. Like
I'm not resigning. Well. No. Nah, you never know.
Exactly.
Because I was thinking like he can always somehow mess up and let me promote my pawns on the queen side. There
Exactly.
was there's always a chance that somehow it
That's a
could
good
happen.
state of mind. That's good.
But yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for the analysis. How was the chat?
Good. It was great.
How was everything?
Great.
Um, Yeah, no, thank you. I really appreciate that you spend your time, and hopefully it wasn't too boring.
No, it was
Um,
fine.
we actually have a game at 3, so I have so little time to eat and rest. So I'm
Sure.
just gonna go now because I need to have fun and have a little nap. So thank you, and we'll see you tomorrow because
See
you're
you
doing
tomorrow.
another game, right, in the
Yes.
morning. And I heard you did an amazing job. I didn't watch the stream yet, but thank you
Thank you.
so much, and thanks everyone for being there in the chat.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, maybe I'll play Sarah as well. Okay, so on YouTube went live. How's the YouTube stream?
I was not aware that YouTube went live.
Uh,
I mean, I was aware.
when the
I was
YouTube was
aware,
live,
but I
oh
didn't
sorry, the
check.
YouTube was.
No, I knew it was live,
No,
but I didn't check it.
yeah, it was my first stream on YouTube. It's okay, like I don't mind it. I was just kind of happy for that to be alive, to be
YouTube channel is being ignored.
for YouTube. Yeah, I'd say
Yes.
it was crazy, crazy traffic. Uh, oh god, I can hear myself. One sec. Yeah, so that's okay. That isn't. Oh yeah, there's 2 people watching, so that was great.
Poor guys. I will make sure that they are not alone in the next
That's
stream.
just because you missed all the chat, they just fully ignored me left.
They just talk to each other.
They just we have a strong community, guys. There. So next stream you're watching on YouTube, Non's Twitch, all the chatters, just to hype up the YouTube. I'll have the both tabs open.
Exactly.
Anyway, it was 8 people at some point. That's crazy. Right, I'm gonna go now. So
Sure.
see you tomorrow, and
See you tomorrow. Get
thank you
some
so much
rest. Good luck and
for roasting.
good job.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
See you. All right, guys, and that's it for I was about to say today, but for this morning/afternoon. Thank you for joining in. It was a pleasure. It was a good game, a bit tough towards the end, but Tosh fought back very well. See you tomorrow morning for the next stream. And thank you so much. I hope you liked it. And I enjoyed it a lot. It was not boring. It was really insightful, a lot of things, and also a nice game to watch, a good fighting game. We hope the best to Tosh. We wish her the best for the next game, and for tomorrow, I'm sure she will bounce back. Thank you so much, and bye bye. See you. Until